Hello, axe fans. This is unusual. We have something really interesting here. I'm gonna do a little, I guess, unwrapping video because this is how it comes. It's a MakiWari Ono forest hatchet, Japanese. All right, Japanese design, Japanese make. All right, so I'm just gonna take a look at that. So some Japanese axes are a triple laminate steel, and what that means is there is a hard carbon bit welded between two softer layers of steel, which gives you a great edge and a harder edge, more durable, and will do more work, but a softer steel to take the stresses around the eye. This particular model, not very expensive, really it is not very expensive, is a single piece of carbon steel. I really don't know what kind it is. Can't track down a lot of information. These manufacturers don't seem to put up websites for their own stuff, like, buy our axes. So they go through retailers somewhere and you can wholesale them out. But it's kind of cool. Let's look at the finish there. That's pretty nice. Sharp, but not really sharp out of the box. Great kind of painted finish here and an interesting polished line. And then this looks gun blued. This looks like a bluing finish there. But they have a distinctive tapered eye. All right, so you can see it with the handle in the background. Okay, a square eye, very unlike Western axes. And it's a do-it-yourself project. The rationale being that apparently this white oak that they prefer, okay, expands and contracts quite a bit in different climates. So they ship them all over the world. Europe's more humid or less humid. I'm not sure, probably less humid than Japan. So it comes with a kit. And what you do is this is going to go in there. It's a little bit oversized. So who knows? My climate may be such that it's expanded. And so what I'm going to have to do is sand that down and fit it. But it goes in there, and then you get your own wedge with it. It sends you a little wedge. Not unlike metal step wedges you can get here, but you don't need a step because it's not going in the wood. It's going to go behind the eye. From what I've seen, it's going to go back in here. So when you get it hafted, there is a gap. It's clearly not long enough. And you use that pressure to fix the head to the haft. That's pretty cool, and I'm anxious to get to it and turn this into an interesting wedding present and sharpen this up a little bit. They can get a good angle out of that. I measured it earlier. It's about 30 degrees, so that's about, Western felling angle, very typical for a hatchet. But distinctive, great, cool. And one thing I learned from people who I think are in the know, these grooves, 3 on one side, 4 on the other, you'll see them on a lot of Japanese axes. And that represents certain traditional prayers that the smith, says while working. It's a blessed axe, so it's, a traditional pattern. And that's kind of cool. It doesn't have any function. It's very decorative. All right. Okay, let's get on to that project. Okay, all right. I had so much fun with this weird axe that I did a follow-up video putting it together. If you ever run across one of these, pick it up. It's really cool. Wow, but there it is, hafted, and it's just a crazy. I'm not exactly sure how this system works. But what the handle comes with a taper on it. It's a tapered handle. It's kind of a trapezoid going in there. But the eye's actually straight. So I didn't realize this, so I'm working on it. But it is definitely a different way to hang an axe. And so every picture I had seen had this metal wedge behind it. And so the force pushes, all the force to keep it on the axe head is straight through it. Okay, and it's like, okay, if that's the way they did it, that's the way they did it. But there was clearly a milled out spot for the wedge up here on the front. I mean, it was clearly, there's no directions. Clearly that's where it went. There was a hole there that I couldn't fill. and the head is tapered, so it's tapered inward, but the eye is straight. And so a problem is that the angle of the head that goes on there is really very closed. It's, you know, it's kind of a downward angle, and it just, like, that's how it was intended to be, but it looked wrong. It just looked wrong to me, and I wanted, you know, this perpendicular angle. I just wanted it for it's a gift, right? So I had to put a little shim in there to get the angle that I wanted. And then you hammer this thing in, and, you know, you're trying to line it up and sand it off, kind of thing. So weird. And before I paint it up, and it'll never be used, I'm so tempted to try it. It really is cool. Like, this is a good handle length for this size head, and the balance is pretty cool. And I want to use it, but it's a gift. And I sharpened it up, so I roostered the edge, and it's really nice and sharp. 32.5-degree angle, all right, which is pretty typical. I don't know, I dig it.